Freedom hits different when you're first gen. This is about breaking cycles, building wealth, and becoming the one who changes everything.
All right, so today we're going to talk about some game that you can give to your family. So first of all, shout out to HU, the real HU. I got a couple of folks behind the cameras that went to Howard, so wanted to represent for y'all today. Hampton, y'all can still watch the podcast though. So check this out. This is really personal. Everything that I do is personal, but this one is more personable because when I think about being like the first one in my family to do a lot of things, not only start building wealth and teaching wealth and helping people invest, all of those kind of things, like the level of responsibility that I felt that was on me at that point, it was just sometimes overwhelming. I can remember getting into real estate and trying to tell people in the family, hey, this is what we need to do. Let's create a community type fund and do all of these kind of things. And everybody wasn't really on board with what we were trying to do. A couple of cousins were, but not all of them, right? So what I wanted to do today is speak to my 20-year-old self, right? So I want to talk to Cal 20 years ago, 25 years ago, and say, yo, these are the things that you need to know so that you can help the family, not only the family, but yourself as well, because our mental health is important. So it's just certain things that you're not going to be able to convince people to do. All right, so number one, the weight and privilege of being the first is real, first of all. So don't let anybody try and tell you or take that away from you, especially if you grew up in the Black and brown community. We know that sometimes a little hate comes with being the first, right? People are going to look at you and say you're doing too much or you're not doing enough or, do more, do less. Like you don't know which way you're coming or going, right? And so what I want to share with you is you're not only building yourself, but you're paving the way for those that will come after you. I am the oldest son on my father's side, and so oldest grandson, right? But I got 30 or 40 cousins behind me. And so what I didn't realize is like everybody really was watching me. I remember when I graduated from high school, I went to the United States Air Force. And so the first time that I came home, like all my little cousins wanted me to bring them Air Force shirts and, little planes and all kind of stuff. And several of them ended up going into the military. Now, could they possibly go to the military if I hadn't gone? Possibly. But I know specifically because they would ask me questions whenever I would come home and when they were going through the process of being recruited, they would call me and ask me questions. And so I knew specifically that I had helped them create a new trajectory in their life. So it's real being the first in your family to do something. Two, mindset shifts. So when you go from scarcity to abundance, it can be scary. It really can, because sometimes you'll think to yourself, do I really deserve this? Do I know what to do with this success? It wasn't until later in life when I started talking to people and I would figure out that some people actually were scared of success. And the reason why is because they don't know if they can handle it at that level and they don't want to embarrass themselves. So when you think about growing yourself, growing your family, the people that are going to come behind you, all of those things are things you can teach because you're essentially a leader in your family, regardless if you know it or not. So think about that mindset shift as you go from scarcity to abundance. Three, learn as you go, and not knowing something, it's okay. I can't tell you the number of things that I learned from the mentors that I've had throughout the years. And so don't be afraid to have a mentor that doesn't necessarily look like you, come from the same community. I have even to this day, I have white mentors, I have Asian mentors, I have Hispanic mentors. We were just talking earlier about even some people who don't know that they're mentoring me. I'm watching what they do and they're morons, so I just don't do what they do. So they're mentoring me even though they don't know that they're mentoring me. So it's okay if you don't know something. But it's always good to go and find what you can't, what you don't understand. We have Chat GPT, we have Claude, we got DeepSeek, we got all this information out there. So learn how to use these AI models to actually help you. That way you can learn as you go. 4, don't be afraid of building your own blueprint. And this is something that I had to write down because it was something that used to stress me out, right? So when I created my own blueprint, I had to go and read a lot of different things and look at a lot of different people. One of the absolute greatest books that I've ever read is The 21 Irrefutable Laws by John C. Maxwell. Now, if you're going to be a leader, if you want to be a leader, this is an absolute must. You have to read that book. I was looking over my shoulder to see if we actually had it on. We normally have it somewhere close around, but that is one of those books that's like paramount. You got the Bible, then you got the 21 Irrefutable Laws. So grab that book. That's something that you can always keep with you and learn. Because even at this point, right, I read that book probably 17, 18 years ago. I still keep it with me because I will refer back to it. Because there's things that I'm doing or going through at certain times, and I'm like, there's a law for that, a law of leadership. So let me go and read it and see what I can, add to my repertoire, if you will. All right, number 5. This is a good one. Set boundaries and navigate your family's expectations. What's the name of that book, Tiana, you just gave me to read? It's an expectation book. I'll drop it. I'll drop it in the video. But when you're talking about setting boundaries, that might be the name of the book.
Really boundaries.
Boundaries. There we go. Boundaries. So get that book as well. This book talks about some of the things that, we know. The older you get, of course, you have situations, those kind of things, right? But this is a good book to read as a young person because it helps you set the boundaries ahead of time. I work with a lot of student athletes. They, get paid a lot of money, and all of a sudden everybody shows up, needs something, right? And so these young people, they don't know how to navigate that. They want to give, they want to help their families out. And so they feel like I'm in a position to be able to do it, but they forget to set the boundaries. And then all of a sudden they look up and someone's trying to take advantage of them. So setting those boundaries very early on will help you to shut off some of that, right? I wrote down here, share strategies for healthy boundaries, right? Giving without enabling, because you don't want to be an enabler. That's the last thing you want to do, because now you're actually hurting the person that you were there initially to help. So create those boundaries around yourself. Number 6, create some new family traditions. Now, my family, when they see this podcast, they got to laugh because they always know I'm always coming up with something new, right? For many, many years, back when my older uncles were alive, we used to have a family reunion every year. And I would look forward to it. It was normally in July. We would go down to the country. We would, shoot guns and fireworks and eat good food and all of that kind of stuff. But then our generation came around. Most of us moved away. And so there were no more family reunions, right? And so when I moved back to Texas, my cousins and I were like, yo, we got to get this tradition back going, right? So although we didn't create a new tradition, if you will, because this one existed before, we did it in our way. So instead of hanging out in the country hot, we were like, yeah, let's go to such and such house who has the pool, right? And so we would go hang out. We always play a softball or a volleyball game before. So we created these new family traditions. And now every year, everybody's looking forward to the family day that we have, right? And so when it comes to finances and money and those kind of things, create some new traditions. I was talking to somebody recently, and they asked me, what is one of the things that I, tradition-wise I do? And we're a Monopoly family. So if you ever came to my house, you'll see I have like 4 or 5 different Monopolies. Depending on who's over, we might be playing 4 or 5 games and moving around the room, right? But that's my tradition. I like to play Monopoly whenever any of my family members are over. Now, I normally win, not all the time, but I love playing Monopoly because it allows me to expose them to financial literacy through a game, and we're having fun, and we, eat nachos or whatever. But all of my little cousins, all of my nephews, my nieces, they know if they come spend the night with Uncle Cal, we're going to 1, watch a bunch of movies, 2, hang out at the pool, and 3, we're going to play at least 3 or 4 games of Monopoly while they're there. All right, number 7, there is power in documenting. There is a not only documenting but legacy planning. So this is something I always teach people. I say there's a few ways that you can build wealth in this country. One is through real estate, two is through life insurance, three is through investing, right? But there has to be documentation and a plan in place so that someone can come behind you and see what you've done. It's not okay that you're the first one in the family that built wealth and didn't share it with anybody, okay? That is not how we're going to build generational wealth in our community. If you look at families like the Rockefellers, you look at families like the JP Morgan Chase family, all of those families, one thing that they all have in common is they've created legacy. Now, how do they create legacy? One, through not just wills, but trusts, okay? Two, through life insurance. And then those things work together, right? So the life insurance, the beneficiary isn't a person, it's not one of their children, it's the family trust. So when grandma passes away at 105, in her bed, her $1 million policy pays into the family trust. When little Johnny passes away at 6 years old because he drowned in the pool, hopefully little Johnny doesn't drown in the pool, but you get my point. His $1 million pays into the trust. And so when you start talking about building up a family legacy, those are the ways that you can create that family legacy through wealth, through something like a trust, okay? Also, as you're going through that process, as you're learning, start teaching the people around you. Now, some of your cousins, they're going to hate on you, okay? Some of them are going to be like, man, I don't need to know all of that stuff. Tell them anyway. Tell them I told you to tell them. Maybe they'll listen to me. But if they don't listen, then you know what that does? It takes the pressure off of you of feeling like you're holding something back. Because you can always refer back. I love when one of my cousins asked me something about cryptocurrency. And I'm like, yeah, remember when I told you like in 2013, you ought to put some money at this Bitcoin thing? And you were like, nah. So now you see, hey, this is what we should have been doing. So normally, if you have a track record and it's successful, they'll start listening to you. But the younger ones, they'll pick up on game a lot easier than a lot of the old ones. So do that. All right, here's number 8, the last one. Celebrate your milestones. Now, this is something that I'm big at, right? I celebrate everything. If you ever get a chance to text with me on certain days, you'll see me. I say champagning and campaigning, right? Because something has happened. Something's worked out, and we're going to celebrate it. My wife, when we first got married, she was kind of like, why do you celebrate everything? I'm like, because tomorrow's not promised, right? So this good thing happened. Let's celebrate it. Now, that doesn't mean go out and spend all your money, right? Because we're trying to build wealth. We're not trying to give it away. But what that means is I take a little of what we made and then I go and get something nice for myself or for my family or whoever, right? But you'll have to figure out what that looks like for you. But celebrate your wins, both big and small. You know why? Because it'll galvanize you to the next one. Now, if you are hitting home runs week after week after week, you might be a little careful about how much money you're spending on your celebrations. But seriously, I want you to enjoy the wins, savor the success. Those are the things that keep you moving forward. So look, being the first is hard, but it's holy work. You're changing the story for generations. Keep going, keep growing, and keep inspiring one another. I told you before, nobody's coming to save us, y'all. We got to save ourselves. So these keys, these tips are the way that you get yourself in a position so that you can share game and push it down to other people in your family. All right, so hopefully y'all enjoyed the podcast. Listen, like, share, and subscribe. Share this with somebody. Let's get the conversation going, and we'll see y'all next time. Think and Grow Rich.